As always, pleasure to have you. We now move over to Europe, where Russia and Ukraine are set to meet today for talks in Turkey. Ahead of negotiations with Russia, President Zelensky of Ukraine said that securing a ceasefire and the release of prisoners remains the top priority. These talks are the first in 7 weeks and would be the third round of talks between both the nations ever since the war in Ukraine started. Ahead of the negotiations, Zelensky also stated that Ukraine and its partners were working to organize a leaders' peace summit and secure the return of civilians and children detained by Russia. So far, Russia and Ukraine have held 2 rounds of talks in Istanbul over the past 5 months. While the talks have not led to any conclusive ceasefire, both sides have conducted prisoner swaps. Let's listen in to Zelensky's comments.
Нарада з нашою переговорною командою Рустем Умєров очолить делегацію на наступну зустріч з російською стороною. Ми узгодили, що саме має бути аджендою зустрічі, які теми. Завдання працювати щодо припинення вогню – це те, про що говорить Росії весь світ. Завдання працювати для організації зустрічі лідерів – це те, що може наблизити мир. Україна ніколи не хотіла війни. І саме Росія повинна закінчити цю війну, яку ж сама почала.
We're now joined by Ambassador Suresh Goel. He's a former diplomat who joins us live from New Delhi. Ambassador Goel, thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning. Do you think there's any hopes for these talks, given that since the 2 recent times they've sat down in Istanbul, we haven't really had any major developments. We have had 2 significant prisoner swaps, however, in regards to the conflict itself, no developments itself. Do you think there's going to be any hopes in regards to these round here, given the Kremlin statement that the 2 could not have more different viewpoints here?
Absolutely. I think we need to really divide the issues. We cannot have the same kind of a response from the two countries on different issues here. For example, I think on swap of prisoners, I am quite optimistic that there will be, like they have been moving in terms of what they've done so far, swapping the prisoners of war. There would be some further development there because I think that is one issue on which there are very little differences between the 2 sides. I think the major stumbling block is going to be the ceasefire, where any kind of ceasefire would be considered as a kind of a giveaway from the other side, considering the hardened position that both have adopted. For Ukraine, any kind of ceasefire would be really yielding on the territory. For Putin, it will be basically like accepting something till even before Ukraine realizes that there are limitations to what it can achieve through war. So I think there will be problems there, particularly when Zelensky says that he and Putin should meet together to discuss the issues. I do not think, again, from responses from Putin that he is in any mood to meet with Zelensky. So there are difficulties there. At the same time, we recall Trump has given the ultimatum of 50 days for the ceasefire. I don't know if that kind of an ultimatum will work or not, but that does create some pressure on the 2 sides. So let us see what happens. I'm not so optimistic about the ceasefire, but swap of prisoners, I think there will be further developments.
Ambassador Goel, yes. We just saw Zelensky's statement. You might not have heard it. However, he did say Russia needs to end this war that it started. What are your views on that? Even though Moscow says it does want peace, escalated attacks seemingly do not make it not seem that way. What are your thoughts on Zelensky's statement there?
There are 2 elements there which in Zelensky's statement. Number one, to say that Russia started the war and therefore they should put an end to it. Number one. Number two, in terms of attacking the civilian targets in the countries, really. Now, if we go to each one of them, there are counter arguments. I will not go into those at the moment, but those counter arguments clearly will be used by Russia to dismiss any first step by them. Second thing, I do find that Zelensky is trying to put the entire onus on Russia to stop or to cease fire. Again, that's an extremist position, really. Will not work that way. So, again, the only thing that creates some hope in terms of ceasefire is attrition, losses by the two sides, and eventually a kind of a fatigue which develops over time. But otherwise, at a political level, there has been no coming to a common ground on ceasefire.
Yes, Ambassador Suresh Goel, thank you very much for joining us on the programme. Well, that is all we have time for.